Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have Mark Dayton, the current governor from the state of Minnesota, versus Donald Trump. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because one of my viewers commented saying that I've been doing a little bit too many joke predictions. So if you guys don't want me to do quote-unquote joke predictions or sort of just like non-serious with like non-actual candidates that might actually run, just comment that down below. If you guys don't want it, then I won't do it in the future. But you know, I just try to add it in for like sort of a little comical sense or like comic relief, because we are in such a highly tense moment that things like the Stormy Daniels versus Donald Trump probably never going to happen. Actually, will never happen. But it's just there to you know, it's just, I guess it's sort of comical, but it's also a little bit interesting. So a lot of the reasons why I do these joke election predictions, disregarding things like a Chick-fil-A sandwich for obvious reasons, it's pretty much there because it's sort of interesting, and it's also, I mean, it keeps you like retained on the current issues with like current people, but it also puts a less serious tone to it. So it's kind of like not a dividing factor. If we talk about Stormy Daniels, you know, it's not going to be something that could be like turned into like a race bait type video where people could spin it one way or another. It's sort of just like a joke video of the president's accuser versus not sexual harassment accuser. I'm just using accuser as in like the case, but you know, compared to someone like Bernie Sanders, who I've repetitively done, this just provides like sort of a comic relief to the entire seriousness of the channel. But if you guys don't want me to do that in the future, I'm completely fine with like stopping it. But since most of you have probably already skipped to the end by now, we're just gonna go through this video quickly. So Mark Dayton, pretty popular in Minnesota, 52% approval rating, 33% disapproval rating. Pretty much gonna make that state solid for him. I really don't see a possibility of it overturning. But you know, his appeal to the Rust Belt and to areas with high levels of agriculture is definitely much better than previous Republicans and Democrats. He does it better than Trump. Well, not necessarily better than Trump, but better than typical Democrats would do against Donald Trump, especially coming from a Democratic Party that is so closely tied to things like the environment or local issues about agriculture. That will definitely help him in this election. So you're going to see it on this electoral map. Certain states that you might not expect to flip may flip. Not deep red states. The ones that I filled in now aren't going to flip, but you know, there are going to see some states that may have voted for Trump by a good amount compared to states that voted for him by a less amount. That smaller margin may go to Trump again, but the state with the larger margin for Trump may go to Mark Dayton. So first of all, I think he would hold on to every state Hillary Clinton won in 2016. Now, that won't really be that hard considering he already has Minnesota in his bag, and Virginia is really not out of the reach, and the states on the western coast are drifting away a little bit more from the president. Up in that one electoral vote in Maine, Trump will probably still hold on to that. It's probably not going to be the hardest thing for him to do. But right now we're at 232 electoral votes for Mark Dayton and 165 for Donald Trump. So Mark Dayton's Senate record doesn't – it definitely correlates with his governor record, but he's not so – he's a much more Democratic and a little bit more liberal or left-leaning per se, not classical liberal, left-leaning on some certain issues. When it comes to abortion, he's like pro-choice. He's the typical stereotypical Democrat when it comes to social issues. But then when we take a step further, you know, gun control, he's definitely for. He's not for mainly further restrictions, but you know, background checks is a must-have in his administration. I mean, he supports, I guess, he doesn't support a gun registry, which most Democrats do not. Only some, you know, farther left Democrats do. But he isn't a conservative by any means on pretty much any issue, but he's not as left-leaning as some Democrats may be on non-social issues, on economic issues, or I guess gun control could be classified as a social issue. But enough about that. We're going to talk about this prediction and this prediction only from now on. So Arizona and Georgia, these are two states I think Donald Trump will easily hold on to. Coming from a state like Minnesota, he won't have the appeal to Arizona voters or Georgia voters. Hillary Clinton didn't either. They were only close because of this strong dislike for the president and the Republican opposition. That may be there, but they're going to hold on to someone like Donald Trump in a very close election. Back then, it was presumed that Hillary Clinton would win. What would a Republican vote count if Hillary was already going to win the election was a lot of the mindset in a number of states. So Trump could have definitely expanded his popular vote. He could have possibly won the popular vote if all Republicans were excited, but clearly at the time the media was telling everyone that Hillary Clinton would win. The polls indicated a small Clinton victory of 272 to 266, but the media blew it out. It was like 348 to, like 147, and then a few toss-up states. It was expected to overwhelmingly go to Clinton, and that didn't happen. But an area that everyone thought would go to Clinton but didn't, the Rust Belt. And that's where I think Mark Dayton will really shine. And that effectively puts him at 278 electoral votes. I think he would pretty much win in the states, the Rust Belt in general, just based off the fact that he can better appeal to these voters. He comes from the Rust Belt, first of all. The states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, the rural voters definitely will be focused on Mark Dayton and his policies about agriculture. Things like that will definitely be prominent, and they will be mainstream. He will definitely be running on this type of platform, which is why I believe the Rust Belt, not only with extended African-American turnout, he doesn't have to be a minority to get that, but I think the continuous opposition we see from African-Americans towards the president is going to be something that helps him, along with the the centralized voters that aren't in urban areas are probably going to come out and vote for Mark Dayton more than another Democrat. And he's probably not going to win all the counties, but he'll probably do better than other Democrats. And Trump is just in general losing his grip on the Rust Belt, but I do think he'll hold on to Ohio, North Carolina, and Florida. Those 3 states I see going back to his column. North Carolina, I think, is out of the bag for Mark Dayton. Florida, not so much. I think if he makes a strong appeal there, he could win. But Ohio, 9% for Donald Trump, I think he could win there. The other state that went for Donald Trump by 9% was the state of Iowa, and I think Mark Dayton could win that state. I think his definitely focusing more on rural voters is going to help him there, and it's going to be enough to possibly put him over the top. If you bring someone like Barack Obama from Illinois, definitely appeal to Iowa voters. If Barack Obama was a senator from Hawaii, he probably would have won Iowa. He probably wouldn't have won Ohio. He was able to do it because he brought out people to vote. He appealed to the rural voters, and he did many things that former Democrats barely were able to do, and that current Democrats have lost their grip on. So overall, the final electoral map finishes off with 284 electoral votes for Mark Dayton, 254 for Donald Trump. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.